Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. Our guest today is Brad Rich. Brad is from Weakley County. He has served our country, and he is working as the administrator of the Weakley County Detention Center. You are in a very unique position here in Weakley County. You are the person that oversees, unfortunately, but fortunately, the people who get in trouble in Weakley County and have to go to the detention center, better known as the jail, the Crossbar Hotel. First off, what made you want to be involved in law enforcement?
I've wanted to be in law enforcement my entire life. It just never worked out for me. The avenues I took to go in the military, and then I became a teacher. Just something that I've always wanted to do. And as a teacher, I got to teaching classes, GED classes at the jail. And one thing led to another, and I got the opportunity to leave teaching and follow my life's goal. And I'm glad I did.
First off, what is the detention center?
We have 129 beds. We hold both male and female inmates. We detain people that's been arrested for minor stuff, driving on revoked license, driving on suspended license, all the way up to people that are going through trial for murder. Mm-hmm. And, our goal is, or our job is to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. Safety and security is our job description. Depending on what court system they are, we deal with juvenile chancery court, which is child support. We deal with general sessions, which is anything misdemeanor A class or below. And then we deal with felony court or our circuit court, which goes from an E class felony all the way to murder.
Do you get many of those people? You just mentioned homicide victims who have been obviously shot or in some other manner. Currently
now, I have 2 in detention right now that are awaiting trial for murder. I had one convicted last month that we have now sent to prison, and he was there for a long time as well.
Why does it take that long to, I don't want to use the word get justice, but why does it take so long for someone to get justice?
It's the court system. Regardless of what somebody's arrested for, even somebody is arrested for aggravated burglary, manslaughter, murder, whatever, all of those courts start out in general sessions court. So they have to make their way through general sessions and then into circuit. So it can take a long time.
This process, and I don't want to hold you to this, it could be 6 months, could be 90 days.
It's going to be 10 to 15 days usually to get somebody sentenced in general sessions, up to 2 years to get somebody sentenced in circuit.
So these people are being held in detention, in which the word detain is where we're going, and these people are then under your care.
Yes, sir.
And the men and women that you have under you.
Absolutely.
How many officers do you have?
I have a total of 20 officers. I have a lieutenant and a captain. I have 4 sergeants, and the rest are correctional officers.
So somewhere around, and I don't know if this is the right way to put it mathematically, 6 officers for every 20 people. It doesn't probably work like that in the math, right?
It just, because our numbers fluctuate, it really doesn't.
Mm-hmm. What happens when a sheriff's deputy's car or police car comes in with someone in the back seat wearing cuffs, and then they pull up and they say, okay, this person now belongs in your custody?
So they're going to come in our facility. They're going to immediately be searched. They're going to go through our body scanner.
Well, go back a little bit, just a little bit. They're going to come into the facility in, a private area there?
Well, it's our booking area.
Mm-hmm.
It's not open to the public by no means, and it's in the back half of the jail. So mm-hmm. It's, I guess private would be a good word.
Mm-hmm. And then at that point, there is the booking area where you do what?
That's where the officer's going to give us their charges, and we're going to get all the personal information from this. They call it justice involved person that we have in there, and we're going to book them in. We're going to get their medical, all their demographics, their medical information.
I never thought about might have to have blood pressure medicine or
exactly
kidney medicine or whatever.
The medical information is a lot of what we do is a big mystery to everybody. But, I mean, like I said, my main priority is safety and security. So that safety, I'm going to take care of their medical issues.
So when somebody comes in, do you have one officer that can do it, 2, 3?
Anybody on my staff can book somebody in. Mm-hmm. My staff rotates around their positions, and so any officer is capable of booking them in.
Do you know when somebody's going to be inside the detention center in 10 or 15-minute notice or not, or do you?
There are times we have a scanner, and we can usually hear what's going on.
So you really don't know that you're going to get the door knocked on and say, we got somebody.
That's right.
I didn't realize that.
We serve the county deputies, of course, but we serve Martin Police Department, Sharon Police Department, Greenfield Police Department, Gleason Police Department, and Dresden Police Department. Now, we're going to hear all of those on the scanner if we're dedicated, if we got nothing going on and we're listening to it. Except for Martin. We don't get Martin's traffic in the jail.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is very interesting. So someone comes in, and you got to find out the things. What if they're intoxicated?
We still do our best to book them in. If somebody is too intoxicated or refuses to talk to us, we're going to go through all of our searches. We're going to put them in a cell until they're either capable to talk to us or are willing to talk to us. Now, if they are intoxicated or something going on that requires medical attention, they're definitely going to get the medical attention. And they're also going to be put on a watch where we're checking on them every 15 to 30 minutes versus the 45 minutes that we normally do.
I got to believe that if someone comes in doing meth or some other chemical, that's kind of touch and go, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing to see somebody come in and then see them 3 or 4 days later. They're a totally different person.
But trying to get information, I mean, out of this person.
It is a very, very taskful event to try to talk to them.
I'm asking because it just seems to me, okay, what would I do? I need to make a phone call. I need to call my mom. I got to call my wife or my boss or somebody. I'm going to get fired if they find out what's happening here. Let's just hypothetically say that this person was DUI. What's the timetable, by the way, for something like that?
All right. If there are 2 mandatory stays that is required by the state. If you come in on an alcohol charge, you have to spend at least 8 hours there before you can be released. If you come in on a domestic charge, you have to spend at least 12 hours there before you can be released. Now, of course, that time can go anywhere beyond that time limit, but it has to have those minimums in there.
What, do you have to have a judge to say it's okay?
Exactly. That? So when somebody comes in, we book them in, we're going to send that information to, like I said, most things start in general session, so we're going to send that to Judge Moore, and he has the opportunity, once he gets it, to set a bond or to keep them there until their arraignment court date.
I mean, that means there's a lot of things that have to happen before somebody is released.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've spent a lot of time booking that person in, and the next thing you know, they're out the door
that's
in
right.
8 or 10 hours. I'm not making light of it, but it just seems like there's a lot of work that goes on.
It is. It's so much work unless you sit there and do it, I never had a clue that was all going on while I was there teaching.
What about body scans? What about knowing that there are people that will attempt to hide things inside themselves?
What our body scan is, once and nothing mechanical will ever is never 100%. So when they come in, we're going to hand pat them down first, and then we're going to carry them to the body scanner. And the body scanner that we have is a tremendous asset. It adds to the safety of my officers and also other inmates in there. It will show the feeling in your teeth. I mean, it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, for example, if somebody, I'm trying to be objective, if somebody swallowed some cocaine, for example, because they know that would be a bigger charge,
absolutely.
so they swallow it. it would find it?
It will definitely show it. We're able to change the contrast on it, and we go through a training, and anything foreign shows up as a different color. It doesn't, of course, a metal is going to have a lot better image than something in a plastic bag, but it's still going to show.
Mm-hmm. And I hope you haven't ever had any of those, but I guess you have?
Yes, sir, we have.
Can you tell me about it?
Well, most people don't swallow it. It kind of goes up the other direction. I don't know how to say that, but and it's very obvious that it's there. We go through. We try to get a judge to authorize us to carry them to the hospital and get it out. Mm-hmm. That's not always the perfect opportunity. So if somebody does come in with something, we're going to put them in a cell, a detox cell, and it's about 10 by 9, and they're going to be in there until we get that from them.
Oh, gosh. We're visiting with Brad Rich. He happens to be the administrator of the Weakley County Detention Center, which is located in Dresden. 23 years old now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
How's the building holding up? I know you put some new air conditioning system
in.
Right,
we got a new roof. We got a new air conditioning. I think we have one of the nicest facilities around. And I'm definitely not going to knock anybody else's, but I would take the cleanliness and the just overall appearance of ours over anybody's.
Yeah, I'm going to go back. I interrupted you on that, but so you get them booked in, you get all of the paperwork at the mug shot, and then it blows up on mobile patrol, and everybody now knows that somebody that they know has been in trouble.
Absolutely.
And there's the first embarrassment, I guess, and then the second maybe, telling your husband or spouse that you're in jail for whatever it happens to be. So what do you do with females?
We have our females are, of course, it's under the same roof, but it's in a different area away from all the men.
Mm-hmm. So you have women taking care of women, or women and men, I guess.
Women and men take care of each inmate.
Yes, but the bottom line is you apparently have been accused of doing something. Now you're here.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So you give them, you take all their clothes off and give them
everything, all the property they come in with. That's shoes, socks, clothes, any type of jewelry, anything is confiscated from that inmate. We dress now. Some people we don't. Some people we know are going to be out in a few minutes. So we're going to search them all, but we're not going to dress them out, which is what we call it. We give them our clothes and actually put them in a, I guess, permanent housing area.
How can you get out quickly? You were just
if somebody comes in that turns themselves in, for example, Monday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, we have general sessions court. Normally, if that individual that knows they have a warrant will turn themselves in, they have the opportunity of getting out at court. So it costs me a lot of money to dress those people out, give them a kit, because everything I put on them, I got to wash. Everything, soap, deodorant, all that stuff that I give them, that's gone. I can't give that to another inmate. So if we got an idea that person's going to get out, we're just going to keep them back in what we call our detox area, in a cell by themselves, and let them go through the court process. If they get out, they're good. If not, then we'll go through the process of dressing them out and moving them.
I had no idea about all of the things that you just mentioned. Soap, for example. I guess, I don't know if it's a big bar or a small bar.
It's a small bar, about 3 by 3 inch bar, 4 by 3 inch bar.
And so after you've booked someone in and they've made their phone call, et cetera, and they're going to be with you for a while, for whatever it is, where do they go?
Well, then they're going to go into what our classification program. So we basically have 2 very broad classifications. You're either pre-sentence or pre-trial, which means you're still going through all the trials, or you've been sentenced. Now, once you've been sentenced, that changes your classification. So we try to keep all pre-sentenced people together and then all sentenced people together. And that's not always possible. I mean, we're a small community, and we have people that just incompatible. I can't put them with this person. So sometimes that changes to some extent.
So you might have two women that knew each other and they can't get along.
Exactly.
And I'll be hypothetical here, and maybe this has been two sisters or two brothers.
I definitely had the brothers and the sisters. I've had parent and child.
If you just tuned in, we've got Brad Rich with us here today. We're talking about the Weakley County Detention Center, also known as the Weakley County Jail. Do you get close? Do your people, do the guards get close? And when I'm friendly and maybe, you okay, bud? That kind of stuff. How do they maintain the decorum that they've been trained with?
They are very professional. We know, like I said, we have to take care of these inmates, and that means if they're supposed to have it, they better have it. If they ain't supposed to have it, they better not have it. My officers are very steady people. They don't their moods don't bounce up and down. I don't think I have an officer that judges anybody that comes in. It takes a very special person to maintain that level head as they're coming, as we're processing these inmates and living with them every day. I have officers there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Christmas, Easter, their birthday, those officers are there. So, and it comes down to, if you show an individual respect, normally you're going to get it back.
I want to follow that up. What if they know who's in there? I mean, maybe it's a family member. I'm talking about a guard who has his, heaven forbid, his son, or a guard who happens to have their uncle, aunt, father, mother. I don't know. I'm just using some. I'm sure this has happened in the past.
It has happened, and in most cases, we're going to have a professional enough relationship to that officer will avoid that area and let another officer do those checks and book that person in, transport that person through the building and things like that. Now, there's cases where I have to have that individual moved. So I'll move the inmate to either Obion County or Carroll County.
If you've just joined us, we're talking with Mr. Brad Rich. He is the administrator of the Weakley County Detention Center. You not only run a prison, so to speak, and that's really what it is, but you also run a cafeteria system. I mean, you're a restaurant for all practical purposes.
Exactly. We have to feed 3 meals a day.
How many meals a day?
Well, it just depends. Like today, and our numbers are something that really doesn't show up very well. So when I left the building today, we had 93 inmates being served supper. But I may have had 100 at lunchtime, and I may have had 95 at breakfast time. Just my numbers fluctuate throughout the day where people get released, other people come in. Like I said, I had 2 today that came in. Today was their arraignment date for court, so they came in and left today. So I fed them lunch, but they won't be on my official count.
Mm-hmm. We have seen these movies with a great big room where all the prisoners come out, sit down, and they've got their prison uniforms on. Is that the way it is over there?
No, it's not. We do everything at their housing area. So we're going to carry the meals to them. We're going to do their laundry. We're going to pick up their laundry, deliver their laundry to their housing area. Our people only get out to go to court. They get out to go to church. Male inmates, female clergy, they go inside their actual housing area and do their missions there. And then, of course, now we do have yard. We let them go out to the exercise yard during the summertime, or weather permitting.
How's the food there?
It's food. It's not as good as it used to be.
You're not cooking steaks?
No, sir, not cooking steaks. Every morning, we serve oatmeal for breakfast. So that's 7 days a week, oatmeal for breakfast. For lunch, we have 2 days a week, we have burritos, and the rest of the week is hot dogs. Now, supper does vary. So we might have chicken patties one night, hamburgers one night, spaghetti one night, that type of thing.
You must have a pretty good staff in the cafeteria.
Well, my cafeteria is actually run by inmates. I have trustees that now I have a kitchen manager and I have officers that oversee it, but all the cooking and stuff is done by trustees.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think our listeners did either. So.
Yeah, all the cooking, all the cleaning is done by inmates.
Do the inmates also wash up, or do you use styrofoam and throw it away?
No, sir. We everything we use is washed and reused.
What about forks and knives and those things?
Okay. So when you go through when you go through the booking process and we move you, we're going to give you a cup and a spork, and you have to keep up with those. Then when we serve meals like supper time, we're going to give you a tray like you would get in a regular cafeteria. Mm-hmm. And at breakfast time, you're going to get a bowl of oatmeal. So we're going to come back and collect those trays and those bowls and wash them.
At our time that we're speaking here, it seems like, and sadly we say this, that you have someone in there that's been accused of murder. You probably at some point have had a child molester, and you probably have had a rapist. Those are kinds of crimes. I mean, you understand some, I'm talking about our audience, probably understand some crimes, but there are some that the public just won't, they won't stomach this. They want justice. And do these people get treated any differently?
Absolutely not. Like everybody that comes in, unless they're already sentenced, are presumed innocent. Now, certain individuals that come in, I have to put them in protective custody to protect them. Once again, safety, then security. So I'm gonna do everything I can to protect the people entrusted for me to house.
Do these inmates have any free time to go outside, shoot basketball, let's say, or move around inside the jail besides being held into the cell itself?
Okay, so all areas except for in detox, which I said that's a temporary housing area. So all the other areas have what is called a day room, which is a place built into their housing area that the inmates can watch TV, set a table, play cards, that type of thing. And then we have the exercise yard, but that's not an everyday thing. You know, like I said, that's weather permitting. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're going to be served breakfast. So we're going to open up all the cells unless they're locked down for some reason, and are restricted. They're going to be able to come out, watch TV and all that. And they're going to be out from 5 o'clock to 11:30. At 11:30, we're going to serve lunch and we're going to lock them back down. So they're going to be locked in their individual cells from 11:30 till 5 o'clock at night when we serve supper. And once we serve supper, they're out, do the same things, play cards, watch TV, until 10 o'clock at night. And then they're locked back down until 5 o'clock in the morning.
What about the tornadoes, bad weather, storms, all of these kinds of things?
Well, we have procedures that we use. Of course, it's a very safe building. It's made out of steel and concrete. So it's a very safe building. If a tornado warning comes up, we do lock everybody down until that weather has passed. And it's got to be official. The dispatch will call us and say the tornado warning is over. And then it just goes back to their daily schedule, their daily routine.
Is there any light from outside? Can they step up on their bed and look outside and see cars go by?
Each cell has, now, depending on where you're at, you may not be able to see cars go by, but each cell has some sort of natural lighting, or I'd say 90% of them do.
Okay. If you're really, really, really bad, do you have a confinement area?
I do. We have our max security area.
You use it very often?
Unfortunately, yes. But it's really not so much about misbehaving inmates as it is incompatible. I can't put them anywhere else. They can't get along with this person, or whatever it may be.
If you just tuned us, we are listening to the inside story of the Weakley County Detention Center. Why is this center, Brad, better than others, or is it not as good as some, or is that we really have a really good detention center here in Weakley County?
Well, I think a lot of that can be directed right back to our leadership as a sheriff. We had Sheriff Wilson for 40 years. And then Sheriff McDade has taken over, and it comes down to that. It comes down to the leadership on our administrative side, on the sheriff's side.
I can't think of a time, but maybe there has been a trustee that walked away. But to be a trustee, how do you get that job?
Well, you've got to have time. You've got to be sentenced to a certain amount of time, at least a year, and you've got to keep your nose clean. And you got to do as much as we can observe. You have to be doing the right thing. Now, we have trustees that come out. They get a little bit of freedom, and we have to take that job away from them. That happens a lot more than I really would have ever thought of it.
I hesitate to bring it up, but I know it happens. But there are relationships that are developed inside jails. Am I correct?
I think you're more looking on the lines of our prison environment than ours. I don't think we have those type of relationships that happen. I can't say for 100%, but we are on the lookout for things like that.
Tell me about the guards, the operators who sit there in front of the buttons that have to be pushed. I'm not sure what that area is actually called, but you have some very, very wise, smart, and I think savvy people that know how to do things quickly and have been trained exceptionally well to be in that area. I don't know what it's called, so help me out here.
All right, so I have the greatest officers in the world. One thing I want to tell you, Paul, law enforcement in general, the last 4 or 5 years have gotten a bad name. And I don't understand it. As a road officer, the public gets to see you, and they get to see the good things that a road officer, a deputy, or a city police officer, highway patrolman, they get to see the good things they do. Nobody ever gets to see a good thing that a correctional officer does. Like I said, I am so proud of all of them. You have to be smart. Yeah, you were mentioning the control board, and when you did the tour, you saw that, and you saw everything that's going on. Much like your radio station here, there are buttons everywhere. There's cameras everywhere, and you're watching all that. You're answering the phone, putting in notes. I mean, you're very busy up there, and every one of my officers does that too. I don't have anybody that does one job. All my officers, they do all the checks, they do all the booking, and they all run control. They swap out about every 2 hours and 45 minutes, depending on how many officers I have on shift. So I run 4 shifts. I have 4 officers assigned to each shift, and then I have 2 that come in and work mid-morning to like 9. I got one that works 9 to 9 on one shift, and I got another one that works 11 to 11 on the other shift.
I'm going to give you the last word on what you might want to tell folks about the Weakley County Detention Center.
Well, like I said, I want everybody to know how valuable my officers are. The dedication it takes to be a CO. We're manned 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They miss birthdays. They miss kids' ball games. It's very much like they're on call. They get called in, and we try not to do that, but they get called in. They have to come. So I'm blessed with some administrators that Captain Robinson and Lieutenant Turberville take a lot of pressure off of me. They do a great job, but the 3 of us are nothing without our everyday officers.
Thanks so much for coming in today.
You're more than welcome, Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you've enlightened a lot of people here today just learning about our Weakley County Detention Center. Chief Brad Rich, Administrator of the Weakley County Detention Center. Paul Tinkle with you here today. on our 30 Minutes program. Thanks for listening, everybody. This program was pre-recorded.